Hi guys, yeah, something different on this video. As you can see, it's quite a large helicopter. If I tell you it's got a 50cc pit bike engine in it, you might be surprised, because I certainly am. But I was given this helicopter to sort of finish off, because a friend of mine acquired it and off a old club mate that I actually used to know, but sadly enough he's got Parkinson's, and he gave it to the friend who's had it for quite a few years now, and all he said to him was, I just want to see it fly. So this sort of fairly close friend of mine did actually start putting it all back together, so it was in quite a bit of a state when he got it. Bearing in mind that this helicopter is completely scratch built, and it's based on a helicopter which you could buy back in the day. It was called a Rotoway Scorpion, and you could actually build this, a real helicopter, in your back garden. You can see it there. You know, it was something you could build, and this guy who had it before, my friend Dave, actually thought he'd build one, and he actually scratch built this model, the whole frame and everything, and I mean it's unbelievable. So my friend Dave started it, and he got stuck into it and everything, got it powder coated, you know, sort of got really enthusiastic about it. He got to a certain stage where he put the engine in it. The engine's never been started, put the engine in it, and he kind of lost interest, and other things came along, because he does lots and lots of flying and big hobbies, you know, jets and stuff like that. And he got left on the, you know, left in his workshop. And I saw it when I went round there, probably a couple of months ago, and I saw it on top of one of his cupboards, and I said, God, that's a magic helicopter, you know. And thought no more about it, but a couple of weeks later, Dave said to me, do you reckon you could finish that off for me? Because I've kind of lost interest, you know. Could you just like put it all together? Because it didn't have a rotor head, the tail gearbox weren't in it. It had an exhaust, but how are we going to try and make it mate up and all that? And he wanted it CCPM rather than, I mean, these sort of older helicopters, the mechanics in his helicopter, I think from a Horobo 47G, something like that, but they all kind of use this levers and push rods and lots of things like that, you know. Nowadays, so much easier, you know, to have 3 servos working in unison, push pull and all that kind of thing. So, you know, Dave said, can you do it CCPM? So that's what I did. So I've got all these servos in here. Tail servo, they're all mega torque servos. The front pitch front I've had to make brackets up for and things, so I can't keep moving the camera around to show you all, but it's been quite a lot of work. I mean, I've been probably working on about a month now, but you know, it was getting the right head. We had a few different heads on it. I mean, if I can move the camera up, this is very similar. Well, it is, it's a Horobo, probably 90s, late 90s, a Robo head. They're quite good, you know. Not like a modern day head, but I think it's going to work, because we got to remember this helicopter is kind of, it's not going to have lots of revs, it's not going to be chucked around, you know. It just wants to be hovered gently, just to get it to fly, you know. I mean, I can't believe that it's been scratch built, but anyway, I took on the challenge. I've been out here burning the midnight oil, quite enjoying it really. I've got all the servos in fairly quickly. The front pitch servo, aileron elevator servo, was a bit of a nightmare to get in, but I made up an offset sort of bracket and got it all in there. Dave's given me all the servos. The push rods weren't any good, so I've made up some piano wires, ones which are really stiff. I bought some carbon tube to go around there, and it's supposed to be a 2mm hole, but it's slightly smaller, so I can't actually reinforce them with carbon. So that's a bit of a shame, but it's not the end of the world. I'm sure it's going to be strong enough. It's not, the helicopter's not going to do much. Also, I had to make that anti-rotation leak. You see the alley bit on the top here. It's quite a nice fit on there. Quite enjoyed making that. We've got all original Hirobo, brand new Hirobo links. All these high tensile cap head screws instead of the soft standard ones. I would like to get some new balls on there, but they're not bad. You know, I'm really surprised at these because, yeah, they're only brass, and that, some of them, one of the later ones, are alley, but they just don't seem to wear that much, you know. So I've gone over the head. They're a complicated head to what you get nowadays. I don't know why. You've got like a damper in here, a rubber, you know, a couple of roller bearings in the top, just a damper to sort of get it going that way. It's so over complicated, which it doesn't need to be, but they work okay. I like to straighten out the fly bars because, you know, they're always bent and whatever. It's been sort of knocking around. And that was, I stripped that whole head down, every nut and bolt. I've replaced everything with 2mm lock nuts, high tensile screws. Everything in there's clean, greased, and put back together. You know, I've done one before, so it wasn't a big deal. And then we come down to, I say, the servos. Now, all these servos, they all work together. Perhaps I should have brought my radio out to show you, but if you're a helicopter guy, you know what I mean by CCPM. And I've got all them servos in, working okay. We've got the throttle servo, which works off a cable, which is on the other side, which I think you can see where it goes in. It's just there. There's a cable that comes down there and goes into the carburetor. Got a super powerful servo on that because it's a sort of spring-loaded car, like sort of snaps shut. Got that set up. Got all this Loctited, all new screws. Everything I could do has been done. We've got this little, I bought some brass little collet things that go on here because they've got a grub screw in the top which makes a towel very easy to set up, and you know, you haven't got to wind in stuff like that. But I bought 2 brass ones, and yesterday when I was doing one of them up, it just snapped. It sort of sent shivers down my spine. Can you imagine what would happen if that was flying, you know? So anyway, I made up 2 silver steel ones, screw cut them, put them in there, so that should be bulletproof. I made all this part up here, which is the brass and the piano wire that goes right up to the towel. So that operates the towel. If I move it by hand, yeah, you can see that. So that's working the towel. That gearbox, I mean, I tried so many gearboxes. It's not my preferred one, but it's the only one I could find that would fit, and I've had to repair it and do a little bit of work on it. But I think it's going to be alright for what it's going to do. This is the one I would have liked to put on. Where am I? Okay, let's just put the camera down a bit. This was the one I wanted to use, which is a more robust kind of thing. But it just wouldn't, you know, I spent hours trying it this way, that way, thinking I can make a bracket and put it on that. But it's also got a strange kind of setup for the drive as well, which wouldn't work. So I settled in the end to put the, you know, the standard kind of one on there. Because I've got, you know, Dave kept saying he kept buying tail rotors and stuff like that, and he couldn't get one to actually fit apart from that one. So that's the only one he had, you know. So let's go a little bit lower down to the engine. Like I say, this engine is a pit bike engine. It's 50cc. Now, it's never been started. Apparently the guy originally tried to start it on a 22cc, I believe. They were like the Colt engines back in the day, but that's like a Genoa, but I think Colt put their name on them or something like that, but 22C, and they weren't very powerful. And if you can imagine, all this framework, everything here is not alley. It's like steel tubing. So you can imagine the weight, you know, what is in this heli. I mean, I think it's going to fly on a 50cc, but it's going to be so interesting. It's got lots and lots of washout on the blades. Dave's taken the blades back with him today to cover. And he's going to do something with the canopy, like paint the canopy. But I've got a few photos of the original one, like I say. You know, it's a bit of an ugly duckling, Marmite, shall I say, but, you know, it kind of looks quite nice when it's sitting in the garden, and it's got, I can imagine it's had quite a presence in the air. It's the biggest helicopter I've ever worked on, and I've worked on a few. Rotoway Scorpion it was called, and you could build that in your backyard. I don't know, it looks so basic when you see some of the pictures of it inside. Yeah, but I bet it was a fun little thing to fly. But like I say, the engine was a bit of a nightmare because I can't bring it back anymore. But the exhaust, can you see I've got this tubing. The manifold actually comes out sort of forward, and then the exhaust had to be back. So I've made these brackets for the exhaust. This one's rubber mounted, so this one here is rubber mounted, and then I've just made a ring and screwed this one to the back. Now I'll just put it, and this is the back one here. But the exhaust, I found some of this in my local model shop, my active scale, and this is a kind of a stainless steel flexible pipe, and I got a fantastic bend in the pipe. And it wasn't, I thought it was going to be an absolute nightmare, but it's not come out too bad, and it looks really nice. And I made some exhaust clamps. Let's have a look if I can zoom in on them. That's it. So I've made these exhaust clamps. It's just a ring with a screw for it, and I've just split them. And all you've got to do, because the tube is such a good fit, heat shrunk a piece of pipe in there, so that's kind of really tight in there. And then I pushed the flexible pipe over the top, which is a nice fit as well. So all you've got to do is nip these up. You know, you haven't got to do them up tight. And we've got, I don't know if you can see, I've got one on the front as well. I've got one on the front just here because I had to make a manifold up. So I've made a manifold up that goes in there. We've got another exhaust clamp that comes off of there. And today I made a copper gasket. Not heat shrunk it. I annealed it, heating it up, and then letting it cool down. And I've done that up really tight, and the exhaust is absolutely, you know, rock solid now. It's just got a little bit of movement for the rubber mount for the vibration. But also, when I did it in the garden the other day, I tried to pull the engine over, but God, it's got some compression. So I've also soldered on. I was going to use like tyre racks, but I've made a number of these little clamps up here, and I've soldered them onto the brass, so they go all the way along the trellis of the frame. There's one there, another one, another one. The one at the back had to be a little bit different because we've got like that bend, you know. Lucky enough, the tube bent really nice, and I've got the piano wire inside it to operate the rear. It's also, as you can see, them screws that are coming out. That is to mount. It's got like a tail fin that goes on it. I did have a few pictures, and there's one. Yeah, I've got a few pictures of the tail fin. I think it's. Where are we? Look, can you see that on the back? I think it goes on like that. That's the tail fin. So they've got to be made up, and I've seen a few other little bits and pieces on there. But the next thing, I mean, it's not quite finished. The next thing we've got to do is the fuel tank. Now the fuel tank sits in that cradle. So the real one, it sits in there. We've got a nice scalloped out there. So I've ordered one. It's a gas boat tank, but it looks like it's going to fit in there perfect and look like the real one. The only problem is it's like anodised red, which would be nice if it was anodised blue to match all the rest of the engine. But honestly, all we're waiting for now is that exhaust. It's coming from China. so don't know how long it'll take. But once it gets exhaust, I can make some brackets up, not exhaust, the tank. I can make some brackets up, fit that, pipe it all up. Dave should have the covering done on the blades by then, and hopefully we can test it out. You know, crash helmets on, probably. I don't know. But I'm really hoping to have a little fly of it as well, you know, because, you know, I love helicopters. And this one, you know, when you look at it, it's a work of art, really. And it's just huge. I mean, it's massive. And all the work that's gone into that, you know. I've just had the easy bit of just finishing it off, you know. Just connecting up the servos, working out where they've got to go, because I didn't really know. I had to like measure and work out where the servos are going to go, get some rods and that kind of thing, sort out the rear gearbox because, you know, that was broken. I've had to repair that, but you know, that all works really nice now. So the next thing is to just get the tank and hopefully we can fire this beast up. But I've really enjoyed doing it, and hopefully I'm going to go around Dave's place. He's got a big garden, so we can have a little fly in the garden, and any tweaks we need. I think we might need a faster tail servo. It's a very talky servo, but it's quite slow. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't know what gyro is going to go on it yet, but like I say, it's been a really fun build. I've enjoyed building it. The guy who built it in the first place, you know, big heads up to him because it's just a mammoth task, you know, and he's done a nice job. And Dave has kind of got it halfway and then I finish it off. So it's been like a three-man thing to get this to fly. And I really want to get it to fly, you know, for the guy who's got Parkinson's so he can just see it fly. So I'm going to wrap this one up now. I've got another project coming along, which I think you guys are going to like. It's a longer sort of engine type thing, but it's for a boat this time. So I might do another little video in a minute while I've got the camera outside. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you this because it's a massive undertaking, and it's been a really great thing, pleasure to actually work on. So I'll see you later, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.